On the 1st of August 2018, on top of Vesper Peak in the North Cascades mountain range, Washington, a 27-year-old woman sat eating lunch in broad daylight. Then, just a few moments after standing up and starting to descend the mountain, she suddenly vanished. No cries for help, no signs of struggle, nothing unusual at all. She simply disappeared in broad daylight. This is the story of Samantha Sayers and the mystery that Vesper Peak still keeps to this day. 6 p.m. on the 1st of August 2018. Kevin Dares sat in his apartment in Seattle waiting for the phone to ring. Samantha promised to call at this time to report she had descended the mountain safely. The call never came. By 8 p.m., after 2 hours of waiting and worrying, Kevin decided to drive up to Vesper Mountain. 2 hours of driving in the dark. When he arrived at the parking lot at 10 p.m., Samantha's green Ford Fiesta was still parked there, alone under his headlights. Kevin didn't wait. He grabbed a flashlight and started climbing the mountain right away in the dark, calling Samantha's name in the darkness. His voice echoed through the forest with no response. He climbed about 2 miles near the Headley Pass area, then slipped and fell, breaking his flashlight. In complete darkness, at a dangerous altitude, Kevin was forced to turn back. 1:30 a.m. on August 2, he found a phone signal and called 911, reporting Samantha missing. Samantha Sayers, people called her Sam, 27 years old, lived in the Belltown neighborhood of Seattle. She ran a cleaning service for Airbnb apartments, previously worked at Seattle Repertory Theater, lived with boyfriend Kevin Dares for 2 years. Both were regular hikers in the Cascades. Samantha was not a beginner or inexperienced. She had hiked many times, and more importantly, she had been to the summit of Vesper Peak before. This was not an adventure into unknown territory. There was one physical feature of Samantha that needs to be mentioned. Since age 15, she had alopecia areata, an autoimmune disorder that caused complete hair loss. Instead of wearing a wig like many people, Samantha chose to accept it and even tattooed designs on her scalp, laurel wreaths, and stars. A few days before August 1, Samantha posted on Facebook asking if anyone wanted to hike Vesper Peak on Wednesday. No one answered. She decided to go alone, something she had done many times and felt comfortable with. That morning, she prepared 3 sandwiches, a bag of chips, several bottles of water, light backpack, no tent, sleeping bag, or thick warm jacket for cold nights on the mountain. Everything she carried showed this was a day trip, with a clear plan to summit and return before dark. Before leaving the apartment, Samantha told Kevin she would call at 6 p.m., a safety habit they always practiced when someone went hiking alone. 10 a.m., Samantha arrived at the parking lot at the base of Vesper Mountain. Weather was good, sunny, clear, good visibility despite a thin layer of smoke from distant forest fires. Wednesday, midweek, wasn't as crowded as weekends. There were a few other cars already parked there. She opened the small metal box containing the trail register and wrote, Sam Sayers, the 8th of January 2018. A simple habit that all hikers do so rescue teams know who is on the mountain if something happens. Then she began the journey up the mountain. Around 11 a.m., a middle-aged couple resting and drinking water on the trail saw Samantha pass by. They greeted each other briefly. This couple remembered Samantha clearly, quick steps, looked healthy, and especially the scalp with clear tattoos. Everything looked completely normal. Near noon, at the Headley Pass area, the difficult section with 48 steep switchbacks, a young man descending the mountain met Samantha climbing up. They exchanged a few greetings. He told her to be careful because there was still some snow at the summit. Samantha thanked him and continued on, a brief, normal encounter. Around 1 p.m., Samantha reached the summit of Vesper Peak at 6,220 feet elevation. The summit that day had about 10 people, some lying in the sun, a couple taking photos, a group of 3 who had just climbed up using the technical route from the north with full rope equipment. Samantha sat down on a rock, took out her sandwich to eat. One person from the climbing group sitting nearby started talking with her. They talked about the route, about the beautiful weather. Samantha said she had been to this summit once before, but still found it beautiful each time she came back. The man later confirmed with police that Samantha at that time was completely alert, communicating normally, with no signs of excessive fatigue or dehydration. A normal hiker enjoying time at the summit, Samantha stayed at the summit for about half an hour, resting, eating, enjoying the view. Everything happened like any other hiking trip. Around 3 p.m., Samantha stood up and prepared to descend. From summit to parking lot takes about 3-4 hours at normal speed. She needed to get back in time to call Kevin at 6 p.m. as promised. Another hiker at the summit saw Samantha starting to leave, but there was one detail he remembered clearly. She didn't go east, the direction she came up, the path leading straight to the parking lot. She went southwest. At that time, he didn't think much of it. On the mountain, people are free to choose their own path. Maybe she knew another route, maybe she wanted to explore. He went back to his business. That was the last time anyone confirmed seeing Samantha Sayers. It's important to understand that the southwest slope of Vesper Peak is not the normal descent route. From the summit looking down, it looks like a gentle slope, even appears easier to walk than the path she came up. But in reality, that slope leads down to the Salton River Basin, an area that search and rescue experts call terrain trap. This area has moats, gaps 5 to 15 meters deep between snow and rock, often hidden by a thin layer of snow on top. There are vertical cliffs that appear suddenly that cannot be seen from above, and below is dense alder forest, so thick it hides everything from view from above. Once a hiker has descended too deep into this slope, turning back becomes extremely difficult. The slope from below, looking up, is much steeper than when looking from above down. We don't know how far Samantha went. Don't know if she realized she was going the wrong way. Don't know if she tried to turn back. We only know that from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., 3 hours, no one saw her. No one heard cries for help. No phone calls. No messages. 3 hours disappeared completely on a beautiful day. To understand why searching for Samantha later became so difficult, you need to understand the terrain where she went missing. Vesper Peak is 6,220 feet high, located in the North Cascades, one of the most treacherous mountain ranges in Washington. The route to the summit is 4.5 miles long, with nearly 4,000 feet elevation gain. The first section goes through dense old-growth forest, then Headley Pass with 48 steep switchbacks, then up to the alpine zone with bare rock, snow, and strong winds. The area around Vesper has 3 lakes, Lake Elon and 2 smaller lakes, with clear blue water but cold year-round. There are dense alder forests that block sunlight. There are countless rock crevices, caves, moats that no one knows exactly how many. The granite here was polished by glaciers thousands of years ago, creating beautiful surfaces but slippery as ice when wet. Between the rocks are lodgepole pine trees 5 to 10 meters tall, canopies overlapping to create a thick cover layer. Once you step behind the trees, you disappear from the view of someone standing just a few dozen meters behind. When Kevin called 911 at 1:30 a.m. on August 2, his voice shook so much the operator had to ask him to repeat several times. "My girlfriend, she went hiking yesterday. She hasn't come back. Her car is still there. I tried to climb up to find her, but the flashlight broke. I couldn't." The news was immediately forwarded to the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. Sergeant John Q. Adams, who had 15 years of experience in mountain search and rescue operations, received orders to command the campaign. He knew every number in his head. On a high mountain, without warm clothing, night temperature drops to near 0 degrees C. How long could a person wearing only a thin shirt and shorts survive? 24 hours. Maybe 48, if lucky, and finding shelter. But with each hour passing, the chance of survival decreased. Samantha had been missing for 15 hours when police began mobilizing forces. By 6 a.m., when the sky was just getting light, the first rescue team had arrived at the Vesper Peak parking lot. Kevin stood there since 4 a.m., unable to sleep, staring at the trail as if hoping Samantha would walk out at any moment. He had not returned to Seattle. Couldn't return. How could he when Samantha was still somewhere on that mountain? By 10 a.m., the parking lot turned into a temporary command post. Over 100 people gathered, police from 5 different counties, professional rescue teams, volunteers from local hiking clubs. They set up large tarp tents as coordination centers, spread topographic maps on tables, divided the search area into grid squares. Each team was assigned a specific area with clear orders. Call her name continuously. Check every rock crevice. Look into every bush. Don't miss a single square meter. 3 helicopters took off, the sound of rotors echoing throughout the valley. Snowhawk, 1 from Snohomish County and 2 from the Air Force, equipped with FLIR cameras capable of detecting body heat. If Samantha was still alive, lying somewhere on the mountainside, the camera would pick up her body temperature different from the surrounding environment temperature. But But from the very first hour, everyone sensed something unusual. The smoke layer from distant forest fires had spread thicker than yesterday. From the helicopter looking down, the pilot reported, visibility severely reduced. Everything is hazy. Gray rock blending with gray smoke, green trees becoming dark patches. A person wearing light-colored clothing in these conditions from an altitude of 300 meters was nearly invisible. Kevin was not allowed to participate in the official search team. The rules were clear. Victims' family members were not allowed to interfere with rescue force work for safety reasons. But he also couldn't sit still. He stood at the command post, looking at maps, watching teams move, listening to all reports over the walkie-talkie. Area A, 1 checked, nothing. Area B, 2 checked, no traces. Area C, 3, each nothing was like a knife stabbing his heart. With each hour passing, his eyes grew more desperate. He stood there from morning to evening, not eating, only drinking water when someone forced him. Red eyes, not from crying, but from staring at the mountain for over 10 hours without blinking. That afternoon, when the sun began to set, Sergeant Adams told him to go rest. We'll continue all night with spotlights. You need sleep. Kevin shook his head. I can't. Sam is still up there. You being here doesn't help. Let us work. She's afraid of the dark, Kevin said, voice hoarse. Since childhood, she's been afraid of the dark, and now she's somewhere on that mountain alone, in darkness for the second night. Adams didn't know what to say. He put his hand on Kevin's shoulder. We'll find her. But both knew that with each hour passing, that promise became more fragile. Early morning of the second day, 8K, 9 teams were deployed. This was an unusual number. Normally a search only uses 2 to 3 teams. Mobilizing up to 8 teams showed how seriously police assessed the situation. These dogs were not ordinary dogs. They were trained thousands of hours, participated in hundreds of searches, found people alive and dead in places humans would never think of. Their noses could pick up human scent from several hundred meters away, even when that scent had faded after many days. The handler opened Samantha's car door, took the shirt she left in the car, let the dogs smell it. The dogs, German Shepherd and Belgian Malinois breeds, sniffed hard, memorized the scent. Then were released. They ran, noses to the ground, tails up, ran toward the trail where Samantha had started her journey, went a few meters, then stopped. Turned their heads, looked at the handler. The handler encouraged, find, find. The dog ran again, a few more meters, stopped again, sat down, stood up, ran in another direction, stopped, turned around. Another handler tried with the second dog, same result. The third, the fourth, 8 dogs, 8 different teams, same result. They picked up the scent for a few seconds, then lost it completely. I've never seen this, a handler with 25 years of experience told colleagues. They're completely confused, like the scent disappears into thin air. It can be explained by science. Hot granite under sunlight can destroy scent molecules. Wind blowing from many directions on high mountains disperses scent chaotically. But even accounting for those factors, 8 dog teams all failing completely was still unusual. One of the volunteers, a veteran hiker named Mark Chen, told his group, something's not right here. I've participated in over 10 searches. Dogs always find something, always. But this time, he didn't finish the sentence. Not necessary. Everyone sensed it. Day 3, 4, 5, time passed at a strange pace. For the rescue team, each day was a hard shift from morning to evening. For Kevin, each day was a hell, stretching endlessly. He slept in the car, curled up in the back seat with a thin blanket. Each time there was a sound outside, he jerked awake, hoping it was good news. But it was never good news. Just volunteers coming for the morning shift, or helicopters taking off, or new teams going up the mountain. Samantha's mother, Lisa Sayers, flew from her distant home after hearing the news. She didn't live near Seattle. Her relationship with her daughter had been somewhat distant in recent years due to complicated family reasons, but now that didn't matter anymore. She came and stood next to Kevin at the command post. The two didn't talk much to each other, just stood there, looking at maps, looking at the mountain, waiting. Sometimes Lisa cried, small sobs she tried to hold back. Kevin didn't cry. He just stood there, with a face like stone. On day 7, a volunteer found a blue jacket lying in the bushes. Kevin's heart seemed to stop, but when checked, it wasn't Samantha's jacket, just an old jacket some hiker forgot long ago. On day 8, someone else found a trekking pole near a rock crevice. Again, hope rose and shattered, not Samantha's pole. Each time like this, Kevin felt like someone grabbed his heart, squeezed tight, then let go. Hope, then despair, then hope again, then despair again. An endless loop. Afternoon of the 4th day, around 3 p.m., exactly 1 week after Samantha disappeared, a volunteer named David Parks was searching in the area south of the main trail, about 50 meters from the path, discovered something lying on the dry pine needle layer. He bent down, picked it up, a small, round, black object, plastic, light, a camera lens cap. He held it in his hand, looked closely. Heart beating fast. This could be what they were looking for. He called over the walkie-talkie. I found something. A lens cap. Area D4. 15 minutes later, Sergeant Adams and Kevin both arrived at the scene. Kevin ran from the command post, couldn't breathe. Adams gave him the cap in a clear plastic bag. Kevin looked at it through the plastic, turned it sideways. Read the engraving on the cap. Olympus. Nodded. Yes, that's right. Sam carried an Olympus camera. His voice shook. This is hers. I'm sure. This was the first clue after 4 days of searching with over 100 people, and it turned out to be the only clue they would find. But the lens cap raised more questions than answers. Why only the cap? Where was the camera? Samantha always wore the camera around her neck with a strap. If the cap fell off, the camera must be nearby. But they searched all around the area, in bushes, under leaves, and rock crevices, didn't find the camera anywhere. The lens cap lay on the pine needle layer, not buried, not covered by dirt, meaning it hadn't been there long, perhaps fell within the past few days, consistent with the time Samantha went missing. But if Samantha had been in this area, why didn't the K9 teams pick up her scent? Why were there no other traces, no shoe prints, no fabric, no hair strands? Adams used the location where the lens cap was found as the new focal point. They drew concentric circles on the map. Concentrated search forces in this area. Every square meter was checked by hand. People knelt down, turned over every leaf, looked into every tiny gap. They searched all that afternoon, all the next day. The search circle was expanded from 10 meters, 20 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters. Nothing. No camera, no backpack, no Samantha. Just a small lens cap lying alone on the dry leaf layer. Into the second week, harsh reality began to show. A person without overnight gear, without water, without adequate food, in conditions where temperature drops to near 0 degrees C at night, cannot survive 10 days. Search forces began to shrink. Not because they wanted to, but because resources were limited. 5 counties had mobilized too much manpower, budgets were running out, from over 100 people down to 50. 3 helicopters down to 1, flying a few hours each day instead of all day. The nature of the search also changed. No longer looking for someone alive, now they were looking for a body. Kevin knew this. Everyone knew, but no one said it out loud. He was still there every day. Now, no longer standing at the command post, but requesting permission to go up the mountain with search teams. Adams agreed, on condition that he must go with an experienced team and follow all safety instructions. Kevin climbed the mountain every day, called Samantha's name until his voice was hoarse, looked into every rock crevice until his eyes were tired. One day, he climbed for 12 hours straight, until the rescue team had to force him down because they worried he would collapse. 2 days after Samantha disappeared, Sergeant Adams called a press conference. Kevin sat in the back row, face gaunt after more than 3 weeks of barely eating or sleeping. He had lost 5 kilograms in 3 weeks. We need to understand that from Vesper Peak summit, there are 2 main directions to descend. East is the path Samantha came up, clear, marked, leading straight to the parking lot. This is the path 99% of hikers use. Southwest is completely different. From the summit, looking down, it looks like a gentle slope, even appears easier to walk than the rocky path up. Many hikers, especially when tired after summiting, tend to choose the path that looks easier. That's the trap. Search and rescue experts call Vesper's southwest slope one of the most dangerous terrain traps in Washington state. It leads down to the Salton River Basin, an area that even experienced hikers avoid. The Salton Basin has 3 extremely dangerous features. Moats with depths from 5 to 15 meters between snow and rock. In late summer, when snow melts, it creates these gaps. The problem is they're often hidden by a thin snow layer on top. From a distance, looking back, you might only see a flat snow surface, thinking it's safe to cross. But when you step on it, the thin snow layer collapses and you could fall straight down a great depth. A person falling into a moat can get stuck between ice and rock. Can't climb up because the walls are too slippery and vertical, can't call for help because the sound is swallowed in the narrow gap. And from above, even when helicopters fly over, FLIR cameras can't detect the thick ice layer blocks body temperature. Another concern, broken cliffs. From the summit looking down, Sam might have seen a continuous slope and decided to keep going. But when she had descended to a certain point, she would discover ahead was a vertical cliff dozens of meters high. By then, turning back was no longer feasible, the slope behind now too steep to climb back up. She was trapped. Finally, dense alder forest below. If someone fell down or got lost down there, the dense tree canopy would hide them completely from all view from above. No phone signal, no clear trail. Trees grow so close together that even sunlight barely filters through. A geology professor from the University of Washington, invited to survey the terrain after Samantha went missing, walked along the southwest slope and gave this assessment. If the girl went down this slope, there are 3 scenarios. 1, she fell into a moat and got stuck at a depth where no one could see. 2, she slid down the cliff and fell into the dense forest area below. 3, she got lost down into the Salton Basin and couldn't find a way out. All 3 scenarios explain why we can't find her. While police ended the official campaign, Kevin Dares began a personal journey that would last many years. He created a GoFundMe page titled Help Find Sam Sayers. Within 2 weeks, over $50,000 was donated from thousands of strangers across America. The story of Samantha, the young woman who disappeared without a trace on the mountain, had touched many hearts. Kevin used that money to hire private search experts. He contacted Bud Carr, a legendary tracker in Washington who had found dozens of missing people over 40 years of work. He also hired Fernando Moreira, an international tracking expert from California with experience searching the world's harshest terrains. But more importantly, Kevin went up the mountain himself, every week, every month. From August 2018 until November, when heavy snow made searching impossible, Kevin spent a total of 106 days on Vesper Mountain. 106 days! More than anyone else in the history of searching this area. He set up a temporary tent near Lake Ellen so he wouldn't have to climb up and down each day. Lived there with canned food, sleeping bag, and a topographic map already wrinkled from being opened and closed hundreds of times. Each morning waking up, he started searching again. Each evening, returning to the tent, he marked on the map the areas already checked. Other hikers often met Kevin on the trail. They recognized him, gaunt face, distant eyes, always staring at every rock, every bush. Some people stopped to chat, asking if he needed help. Kevin shook his head, thanked them, then continued on. Someone asked, "Do you still think she's alive?" Kevin didn't answer that question. He only said, "I need to find her." On Samantha's 28th birthday, the 13th of August 2018, Kevin climbed to the summit of Vesper. He brought a small cupcake with a candle, lit the candle on the summit where Samantha had sat eating lunch for the last time. Then he danced, a silly, cheerful dance, the kind Samantha used to do when happy. A friend recorded video and posted on social media with the caption, "Happy birthday, Sam, we will never forget you." The video went viral, but not everyone understood. Some people commented, "Is he celebrating her death? Dancing when his girlfriend is missing? Sick. Something's not right with this guy." Kevin read those comments, didn't explain, didn't argue, just closed the social media page and continued up the mountain the next morning. Over a year after Samantha disappeared, Kevin still hadn't given up. But his search strategy had changed. Instead of only focusing on Vesper Peak, he began expanding to other peaks in the North Cascades area. There was a theory that Samantha might have gone much farther than people thought. Maybe she didn't die on the first night. Maybe she survived for several days, trying to find a way out, and traveled a long distance before collapsing. In October 2019, Kevin and his team were searching on the mountainside near Hidden Lake Lookout, about 15 miles from Vesper Peak. This was a treacherous area, few people passed through, with vertical cliffs and dense old-growth forest. One person in the group, named Tom Wilson, was checking a mountain crevice when he discovered something unusual. He called out, "There's something here!" Kevin ran over, heart pounding. In the dense bushes, half covered by leaves, were clothes and bones of someone. Could it be Sam? Kevin stood there, unable to move. After over a year of searching, after countless times of hope and disappointment, was this the moment of finding Samantha? They didn't touch anything, called police immediately. The forensic team arrived within 2 hours. They examined the scene, took photos, collected samples. Kevin stood at a distance, watching them work, hands trembling. Part of him hoped this was Samantha, so everything could end, so he could bring her home, so the family could bury her properly. Another part feared this because it meant all hope was gone. DNA results came back after 3 days. Not Samantha Sayers, it was Rachel Lacoduc. Rachel Lacoduc, 28 years old, went missing in October 2019 when hiking alone at Hidden Lake Lookout. Like Samantha, she was an experienced hiker. Like Samantha, she disappeared without a trace. Rachel's family had been searching for a year with no results. And now, thanks to Kevin Dares and his search team, Rachel was found. Rachel's family contacted Kevin. They cried over the phone, "Thank you. Thank you for bringing our daughter home. We can bury her now. We can keep living." Kevin listened to them, said they didn't need to thank him, that he only did what he had to do. But inside, a strange feeling welled up. Kevin had found a missing person. His method worked. His skills were effective. He could find missing people in this harsh terrain. But why did he find Rachel and not Samantha? Rachel went missing a year after Samantha. Rachel was at a different, more distant peak. But Rachel was found. News of Kevin finding Rachel Lacoduc spread widely on media, and with it, a new wave of suspicion from the online community. On Reddit, a thread with hundreds of comments appeared with the title, "Kevin Dares found another missing person, but not his own girlfriend, suspicious." Comments full of doubt. Very suspicious. He found a complete stranger at a different peak, but can't find the person he loves right where she went missing? This doesn't make sense. Did he hide Samantha somewhere else and is now pretending to search to create an alibi? The broken flashlight story was suspicious from the start. Now, even more suspicious, why did he go searching at a different peak? Is it because he knows Samantha isn't at Vesper? Some people defended Kevin. You guys are truly heartless. This man spent over 100 days on the mountain looking for his girlfriend. He found Rachel because he's good, not because he's guilty. Finding Rachel proves his method works. That doesn't make him suspicious. But the defending voices were drowned in the wave of suspicion. Kevin read those comments. Not because he wanted to, but because friends sent him links saying he should know what people were saying. Each accusation like a knife stabbing his heart, not because it hurt, but because it was unfair. He had done everything possible, spent over 100 days on the mountain, used up all his savings, lost his job from taking too much time off, lost weight, lost sleep, lost everything. And now people said he was a murderer. Once, just once, Kevin wrote a long post on Facebook. "I understand you're suspicious. I understand in this era, people don't believe in coincidences. But let me be clear, police investigated me thoroughly. They checked my timeline. They know where I was every minute of the day Sam went missing. I didn't kill Sam. I love Sam, and I will search for her until the day I die." The post received thousands of likes and shares, but also hundreds of comments continuing to accuse. After that, Kevin closed all social media accounts. No more posts, no more updates. Complete silence. But he still went up the mountain every week, every month, searching in silence. David Paulides, former San Jose police officer, California, after retiring, became an independent researcher on the phenomenon of people missing in national parks. He wrote a book series called Missing 411, collecting thousands of missing cases with strange common points. Paulides noticed some repeating patterns. Most occurred near water sources, lakes, streams, waterfalls. Many cases occurred in granite areas. Victims often separated from groups for only brief moments. 9 teams couldn't find trails. If bodies were found, often in places that had been searched many times before, and Samantha Sayers fit most of those points. Paulides included Samantha's case in one of his books. He didn't draw definitive conclusions about what happened, but he asked questions. Why do so many people disappear following the same pattern? And why does the government hide information? The Missing 411 community, tens of thousands of followers worldwide, began discussing Samantha's case. Some people put forward strange theories. Could there be a predator living in the forest? Could there be supernatural phenomena? Could there be time portals? Someone else wrote, I'm a hiker with 20 years experience. I've been to Vesper Peak 5 times. The southwest slope is truly dangerous, but not swallow people without leaving traces like that. If Samantha fell into a moat, there would be traces on the snow beside the moat. If she slid down the cliff, there would be slide marks on the rock. But they found nothing. Nothing at all. That's very unusual. While Kevin searched in silence, another battle was happening between him and Sam's family. Lisa Sayers, Sam's mother, never truly trusted Kevin. From the beginning, after Sam went missing, Lisa had suspicions. Not clear suspicions, not direct accusations, but murmured questions, eyes full of doubt. Why did my daughter go hiking alone? Lisa asked in an interview with local newspapers in 2019. Sam was always careful, always told me her plans. But this time, I knew nothing. The interviewer asked, do you think someone made her go? Lisa was silent for a while. I don't know, but there are things that don't make sense. Unlike police and professional rescue teams who believed Sam had an accident falling off a cliff, Lisa firmly believed her daughter was kidnapped or sold into human trafficking. She publicly doubted Kevin Dares and implied the family was conducting their own investigation, targeting him. Lisa once went online saying she believed her daughter was being held, not dead, on the mountain, and criticized Kevin's claim to stop searching as suspicious. Kevin read that interview and felt like being stabbed in the back. Lisa didn't say his name, but anyone reading understood who she was implying. August 2020. Exactly 2 years after Sam went missing, Lisa organized a memorial service in Seattle, invited friends, relatives, Sam's old colleagues from Seattle Repertory Theater, decorated with photos of Sam, beautiful photos, Sam smiling, Sam on the mountain, Sam with family. Kevin was not invited. He knew about the memorial through Facebook. A mutual friend forwarded the information. He sat in the apartment, looking at photos posted from the ceremony, seeing people talk about Sam as if she were definitely dead, seeing Lisa standing in the crowd with a face full of tears. Comments under the post were divided into 2 camps. Half supported Lisa, saying she deserved answers. The other half defended Kevin, saying he had done everything possible and it wasn't fair to accuse him. January 2025, 7 years after Sam went missing, news shocked the search community. A hiker in Snohomish County, about 30 miles west of Vesper Peak, found a human skull in the forest. They reported to police immediately. The news spread quickly. Skull found in Snohomish County? Could it be Samantha Sayers? Kevin received dozens of messages within an hour. Friends, strangers, reporters, all asking the same question. Have you heard the news? Could that be Sam? He called Sergeant Adams. We're investigating, Adams said. The skull was sent for DNA and forensic testing. Need a few days for results. How far is the location from Vesper? About 30 miles. Kevin was silent. 30 miles. Could Sam have gone that far? Could she have survived more days than people thought? Traveled an unusually long distance before dying? Kevin Adams said, don't hope too much. There are many missing people in this area. The chance it's Sam is very low, but Kevin couldn't help hoping. After 7 years of nothing, this was the first clue, however fragile. He waited. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but it wasn't Samantha. Forensic analysis showed it was a female skull, but death was at least 2 years ago, possibly longer. DNA didn't match Samantha. It appeared to be a medical specimen, perhaps from a laboratory or university disposed of illegally. Kevin hung up, sat there in silence. Not Sam. Second time human remains were found in this area. Second time, hope rose, then shattered. Kevin wondered how long he could endure these cycles. Hope, despair, an endless loop. Across the Pacific Northwest, hikers sometimes thought of her. When they went up Vesper Peak, they looked around, wondering if there was any new discovery. Some people brought printed photos of Sam, posted them on the bulletin board at the trailhead, still searching. If you see anything, please contact. A volunteer group calling themselves Sam's Army still occasionally organize searches, no longer large scale like before, just a few people, a few days, still hoping for a miracle. On Reddit, the thread about Samantha Sayers was still updated regularly. Whenever there was new news, however small, people discussed, analyzed, put forward theories. Somewhere in the North Cascades, among granite rocks and towering pine forests, perhaps Samantha Sayers is still there. Perhaps she's lying in a deep moat that no one can see. Perhaps she's buried under a landslide. Perhaps she's in a rock crevice that only earthquakes or melting ice will reveal. Perhaps one day, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, a hiker will accidentally discover a piece of fabric, a shoe, a backpack, or perhaps never. Perhaps the mountain will keep this secret forever. But one thing is certain, Samantha Sayers will not be forgotten. Not by Kevin, not by family, not by the hiking community, and not by those who read this story. She disappeared, but she's still here, in memory, in pain, in questions without answers. And perhaps that's the only way for her to live on. I spent many months researching Samantha Sayers' disappearance. Read hundreds of pages of reports, watched dozens of videos, listened to interviews with Kevin, with police, with volunteer searchers, followed Reddit discussion threads lasting thousands of comments, looked at Vesper Peak topographic maps until I memorized every line, and after everything I learned, I still don't have answers. No one does. But there are things I can't stop thinking about. The only clue in the entire case. An Olympus camera lens cap found after 4 days of searching, lying on dry pine needles 50 meters south of the main trail. Kevin confirmed it was the type of cap for Sam's camera, no doubt about that. But where was the camera? Samantha always wore the camera around her neck with a fabric strap. If the cap fell off, the camera must be somewhere nearby. They searched all around the area, in bushes, under leaves, in rock crevices. Didn't find the camera, didn't find the strap, only the cap. How could a cap separate from the camera and lie alone like that? Some said maybe Sam was taking photos. The cap fell off, she didn't notice and kept going. But that doesn't make sense. If Sam was taking photos, that means she had removed the cap. The cap fell. Then she just left without picking it up? A photography lover like Sam, with the Olympus camera she treasured, wouldn't do that. Others said maybe someone picked up Sam's camera, kept it, and threw away the cap. But if so, why? If someone found a missing person's camera, they would report to police, not keep it. Unless that person had a reason not to want police to know, and all 8 dog teams, 8, from different units, trained by different people with different dogs, and all failed in the same way, picked up the scent for a few seconds, then lost it completely, as if the trail was cut off midway. A handler with 25 years of experience said, "I've never seen this happen. I'm not an expert on K9 teams, but I've read enough to know this is unusual. Very unusual." And Kevin? Is he really innocent? Police investigated Kevin very thoroughly. They checked his timeline on the day Sam went missing. He was in Seattle when Sam was climbing. There was evidence from security cameras at work, from credit card transactions, from phone messages. There was no time period when he could go up the mountain, kill Sam, hide the body, and return without being detected. The broken flashlight story, which many people thought was suspicious, was verified. Kevin bought a new flashlight a few days later and kept the broken old one. Police checked it. It was indeed broken. It could indeed break from strong impact like slipping and falling on rocks, and most importantly, over 100 days on the mountain. Kevin spent over 100 days searching for Sam. A guilty person wouldn't do that. A murderer usually wants to stay away from the scene, wants things to be quiet, wants people to forget. I think because we humans can't accept coincidence and mysteries without answers. We want someone to be responsible, want a bad guy to blame. Kevin is the easiest target, the last person to talk to Sam, the person in a romantic relationship with the victim. But easy doesn't mean right. Kevin didn't harm Samantha Sayers. After weighing all the evidence, I think Samantha Sayers died in an accident. I think she went down the southwest slope, realized she went wrong, but decided to continue thinking it was a shortcut. I think she fell into a deep moat somewhere on that mountainside, a moat that search teams passed by but didn't see because the angle wasn't right or because it was hidden by snow and ice. I think one day, when ice melts due to climate change, or when there's a small earthquake changing the terrain, or when a hiker accidentally goes right into that area with the right angle, Samantha will be found. Maybe 5 years from now, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years. But I believe she's still on Vesper Mountain, waiting for someone to find her. What do you think happened to Samantha Sayers? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all. And who knows, maybe among you, someone will notice a detail that both police and I missed. If you want to follow more mysterious disappearance cases like this, Real stories, thoroughly researched. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching to the end. See you in the next video. And remember, if you go hiking, never go alone. And if you must go, always tell someone where you are, because sometimes the wilderness never returns what it has taken.